get a link to the YouTube, like instead of having to go through the process of view on YouTube, copy the link. But anyways,
I think you can. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to Friday Night Live with your favorite host and co-hosts, Julian in the house, Joshua, and my co-pilot in life, Alex Rogers, soon to be McCray. If you guys don't know, that's my fiance. She's part of everything I do for the most part, and we're super stoked for another live chat with you guys this week. So.
Absolutely.
Julian,
my co-pilot is this light switch.
Oh my gosh.
Julian, how's things on the other side of the world, brother? How's the weather and all that? Because Julian is literally, guys, like on the other side of the planet.
That is one thing that's really nice about here is the weather. Is we're just getting into spring, and finally the mornings are getting warmer, and so like I wake up. And I go outside, I'm like, wow, it's spring and things are blooming. It smells so fresh. Actually, this is pretty crazy. This really blows my mind. But I've been in New Zealand for the past year, and I've experienced all the seasons so far. And every season, something is blooming. Like literally, there will be a flower blooming, or a tree will be blooming, or something's blooming and blossoming the entire year, even during winter.
Wow.
And like to me, that's like. When I was in Canada, in Vancouver, and the winter hit and everything was dead, like it filled me with a lot of despair in a way that I like a lot of gloom. And I'm like, everything's dead.
That's how he gets during the winter.
I get that way. I get seasonal time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually scared of the winter time right now.
That is so weird that we have different. I didn't think about it. I mean, obviously we're on different sides of the world, but we're in different seasons. Like that's so weird.
Oh, I know, right?
That's weird.
Also, we're gonna do a daylight savings change tomorrow, which I don't think is going to happen in America for a while. So
not for like a month, I think.
That's so weird because the first day of fall was yesterday.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
We're at fall.
The equinox.
Yeah.
Yes.
So weird.
Okay, guys. So we were talking right before this, and we were talking about depression, and I know that a lot of people can relate to that. I actually feel like I don't know if depression is just getting more talked about and exposed now, or if more people are experiencing depression, and which seems kind of common to me. It would make sense to me in an abstract way because we have more things to kind of say how life should be, and more options and freedom to do whatever you want in life, which makes you feel like you're not doing nothing, which makes you depressed. You know, throughout evolution, you would be born to be something, and you do that for your whole life, a fighter or this, and then that's what you do. But now I think that depression comes with having an open world view, and then and being able to dream of doing anything, and then you're looking outside in the real world, and it's not aligning with reality. Right?
Well, and the time that we're in. A lot of people are depressed with the pandemic.
I don't know if maybe the pandemic.
Because people are stuck at home.
You know, this is true. I almost feel like this is like an intuitive versus censored debate because like when I talk to censors, like the topic is like what's right now. And their concern is like what's happening right now in the world. Coronavirus is happening. When I talk to intuitives, it's like we're not even thinking about what's happening right now. We're stuck in the future. We're talking about the abstract, the themes, like the underlying currents that's happening around all of this.
Funny.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait, who cares about the pandemic? I think it's the whole century.
This, I guarantee you that, I mean, obviously I don't know the sensory facts, but I guarantee you there was a spike in depression.
Oh, yeah. No, I would definitely be on board on that as well. It has affected people to a degree, and like even if intuitives aren't thinking about it as much, which might not be true, but even if they aren't, like I'm one of them who probably isn't. I'm in New Zealand, but anyways, I still feel affected by it. I think just as like an outside of my mind, not really aware of it type of situation. Hey, Laura's in the house.
What's up, Laura?
Laura.
Long time no see, Laura. I met Laura. She came on our channel before, on this channel before. So Laura in the house. What's up, Laura?
Cool.
So, all right. So let's talk about depression, and I would like to see how it connects to personality types and kind of explore that topic. I think that'd be a little fun to dive into. We're not going to be too long today, guys. We'll probably be 20 to 30 minutes ish total, but let's have some fun and give us get some bang for our buck.
Let's talk about depression.
yeah. So let's talk about a depressing topic. Depression. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
we can
get
talk about
some more
happiness next
freedom.
week.
Yeah. Happiness is overrated. No, I mean, like, I feel like we get
happy?
some freedom. We get freedom from talking about depression in a sense.
I agree.
Like, you can shed a light on it in a sense.
I agree.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good. Laura's doing good despite the pandemic.
Laura, are you sensory?
Well, and, this is so funny. We were just talking about
She
this.
is sensory. Yeah.
There we go.
SITE. ISTJ.
And she said, really bad situation in the United States. And maybe because I'm intuitive, Julian, because we were just talking before this. And I was like, oh, man, it's not even that bad in the U.S., man. Well, everybody's doing all right.
As we can't have, without masks.
It is kind of, it's a laugh to me in a sense, because most of the people I talk to and a lot of people from the United States do feel like this is terrible. Like on a global spectrum, they're like, we're so fucked right now.
You know, and this is so not directed at anyone in the slightest, because I do not mean this, but I've always seen, I think it's because I'm so intuitive and I'm so disconnected from the sensory, but I'm an IJ. So it's like, I can stay in my IJ box. Okay. But I was thinking that like, I think we're just so used to having so much. We can go do anything we want. We just got to wear masks.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel all my freedom still.
Yeah. No,
right?
I agree
like,
with that.
I'm like, what's so
it's
bad
annoying,
about it?
But it's like,
I don't really get it. But on the other end, I am so speaking from my subjective world, like, and I'm so intuitive and I'm an IJ.
I do see one place where it's screwing us with our immune system, but
you're saying just from having the mask on?
Yeah, we're not being exposed to all the, like I said, I think flu season this year is going to be terrible.
Yeah, that could totally be.
Yeah.
But either way, though, it's nice. Well, it was sucked when we were locked in our house, but now we have the freedom to go do whatever we want.
And you can pretty much take off your mask where you get, if you're inside and you like top off.
Yeah.
You know.
What's up, other viewers? We got a few more viewers that just popped on. I think that was done back.
Yeah.
Really?
But yeah, cool guys. We're just talking about depression today, and we're getting ready to talk about how it, dive in and talk about how it connects to functions, because all three of us have dealt with depression. I've dealt with it quite a bit, ironically. Well, why I say ironically is because I'm low in processing, so I didn't even realize I was depressed a lot of my life until now that I'm older. I'm like, that was depression. I just didn't connect the dots that's what that was.
Yeah, I don't know if I could go on a limb and say that I've dealt with depression, because it's a strange thing, because I see other people and I feel like maybe just my perspective puts a spin on it, but other people are like, yeah, no, like I have depression and like it's really affecting my life, and I don't feel like I even want to get out of bed, and like there's some serious effects on that. And like for me, how I've experienced, it was just like times of sadness or like elongated periods of just sort of like, what's the point? Feeling hopeless, kind of like I'm not going anywhere, like I'm not succeeding. It's more like a fixed mindset kind of thing that kind of drags down and then casts a shade of gray on everything else that I'm doing or that I'm looking at in life. It's like a domino effect in which I feel sort of hopelessness in one category of my life, and then that starts spreading to the other categories of my life, and then I just feel like wow, like where am I going? Like what if I fail? Like what if life doesn't go anywhere for me? Like what can I actually like do this? But then it's usually pretty quick to be like, I got to put that aside. Like I got a life to live.
That's the hard part about emotions, I think, is like whenever you get into, let's call it depression emotion, even though I know it's not technically emotion, but I'm just saying like when you get into those things and they stick around, then your whole world experience gets filtered through those. And then it gets really tough. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you start to see things from a different lens. So I kind of think of emotions as tuning into a channel, like the old TV antennas. And then so if you turn into like a happy movie, then everything you see now through the world, you're seeing the world through a happy channel. Yeah. But then if you go through a sad one, it's like, oh, I'm seeing. So I think it's so important to understand your emotional state. Of course, me as a someone who doesn't naturally understand emotions well, I'm a thinker, for those who know what that is. But and my emotions is very low for me. But now that I'm aware, I think that you kind of tune into the channel and realize what emotion you're in, and then realize that you're seeing the world through that lens. Yeah. And that's been really helpful. And then if that's true, then now the next move is to figure out, okay, now how do I have control over which emotions I feel and that I experience, and without suppressing, and keep them processing, and then finding that balance. And that's what I've been really going through a lot lately.
For me, it's just knowing that there's a light. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
No
matter how depressed you are, like, I'm sure, I mean, maybe some people haven't, but I'm sure you've gotten out of it, and then I'm sure you've went back into a depression. So it's like the hope that there's better times.
That's definitely what I lean on as well. If I'm in a darker place, is I just think about like oh, everything else that I've experienced, like I get to the other side of it, and to me it's just trying to keep myself from making drastic decisions. Like we were mentioning before, is like if I'm in a state of less happiness or despair, then I might be prone to making very split-second decisions that will affect my life for months to come. Like just to burn down bridges or leave a job or do something that really was I was just being jaded by my emotions at the time that were probably going to turn around and switch over pretty soon. And just like making those decisions that are regrettable later on. And then now it's just like leaning, like Alex said, into the idea like, okay, this will end and this will kind of eventually go away, but what can I do right now to change my circumstances? Like, what's the reality of why I feel this way?
Well, so here's a question I have. So, because you kind of were saying like pretty much you're on this channel of depression, and then eventually the channel changes, and then you can go into a big one. But my question is do you sit and wait? What do we think is more optimal, right? Like, do you sit and wait for the channel to turn, or do you find a way to turn the channel yourself? Right. And there's things you can do with your physiology that, I know in theory work, but in real world application, at times I tried and it hasn't really worked sometimes. But, if you do change your physiology, you put your chest up, then it's hard to be depressed.
Or if you
put a smile on your face, it's like, how do you be depressed? Right. But I do notice that with me and her being extroverts in high play, is what happens is when we're depressed and we get around the tribe members, we start to, our mood just, we have to like almost not be, we don't want to be jerks.
We feel responsible to be in a good state for the tribe.
And then we feel good after that because we tricked ourselves, right? So I know that works for us for sure. If I'm depressed or something, I got to get around people. But I don't want to at all. I want to spend time for myself.
And that's super interesting. Like, it's almost like being tribe, but also having FI. It's like you will put on a facade for other people, but the fact that your emotions are changing are still coming from you and your actions in that sense. Yeah, I've seen a lot of FIs, even myself at times. It's like almost like we can't hide our feelings in a situation where like you're sitting with someone at a party or whatever. Like I've experienced this before where I'm out with somebody and they have like a face on that's just like pure like uncomfortability, like they hate it, they don't want to be there, and like it's affecting the mood of everybody around them. And I'm just like why, like, do you have to put on that face? Like,
I know,
do you have to show it like that? Like, you can leave if you want. I mean, we don't want you to, but like, come on.
That triggers like our types, like, because we get swayed with the win. So it's like
bad
keep your bad.
Make me have a bad energy.
Yes, we're like, keep your bad emotions to yourself, dude. Like life is tough on all of us. Trust me, bro. It's not just you. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not a picnic for just people over here. Like, it sucks for all of us at times. Right. So I think that's good. So maybe, and before we dive into like the functions and connecting, I'm wondering if there's any generalities that we've all tried and test tried that actually work for us. Not good theories, but has actually worked for us to like change the channel on our depression or our moods or anything that we can share with people that might be able to give them some tips and help them. Do you have anything?
To get busy and get moving, like move your body.
Move your physical body works really
like working out, obviously it releases natural endorphins.
And if you're depressed, that's the last thing you want to do, trust me, but it works.
Like yesterday, I wasn't like depressed, but I was just in a bad mood, like tired, lethargic, and then I went and worked out and I was like, cool, I'm good, I'm ready to take on the rest of the day. So that's a big tool. And then like Josh said,
you're a big tool.
Like Josh said, just being around people.
Yeah, for extroverts at least. Because we almost have to.
I feel responsible. I can't sit around and be a B word. In front of a bunch of people when they haven't done anything. So it's like I feel forced to
change your state.
Right. That's because I guess me being like FI, I don't feel like very in control or responsible for changing my state around other people, I will avoid people. I'll just be like, I'm just not going to be like, if I'm in a bad mood, like I don't want to put that on other people. I'm just going to leave for a time.
Right.
But I mean, for me, in like my switching of states, I have to also consider like what am I dealing with in that moment? Say, for example, if it is just sort of like a general malaise, then things like going for a walk. My girlfriend and I have found that going for a walk in nature has been like really beneficial for our mood.
That's my go-to.
Yeah, it's moving. You're smelling fresh air. You're getting more in touch with the nature and life and the seasons and just like the normal stuff in life. Like I've been at my most depressed living in like big cities, doing a lot of stuff, partying and like just having a really highs and lows of emotions of just like excitement and then like everything's fast and then you crash. Exactly. And I've been at my most peaceful in the more simple areas in the world where there's like a town of 1,000 population. There's a river nearby. There's nature everywhere. Like you're just working out, because exercise too has been huge. Exercise, cold showers, and then like, but I also want to touch on this idea of like repetitive thoughts. Like I might have repetitive thoughts that lead me to a negative state that that just come up, and no matter where I go and no matter what I'm doing, they just keep appearing, and it's like unavoidable. And so the ways that I deal with that is to sit down and to meditate and to go into them and to like actually ask like, what is the truth behind this thought? Like, who am I in relation to this thought? Like, is this thought coming from me, or is it just like a thought that's floating around? And just, give space for it, let it be there, and then have the space to let it pass.
I think depression has to start with thoughts. And so I think so. And so what I think depression actually is when the outside world doesn't align with what you want it to be or think it should
reality.
Be. Reality doesn't align with your inner thoughts, right? Yeah. So I think that's why you're depressed. And then you're also looking at things as something you can't change. And I think changing the perspective to seeing the things that you can change, like is a really, if you can do that, that works. Right. Sometimes it's hard to, but if you can pull it off, it works. And Laura says she benefits a lot from nature walks too. It's one of the few entertainment options. I have this pandemic outside of social media. Oh my gosh, Laura, like that is something she'll tell you I do not miss ever. No, I do my daily walks. Ironically, today was the first time for a long time because we're so busy. But I usually never miss my nature walks. And I think that's my thinking time. I can think so well. It's my processing time. I come back and I have great business ideas that I share with her. I'm just like, hey, this is what we're going to do with the business. Relationship with the And then Laura said, you nailed it, depression, when reality doesn't match with your thoughts. Yes, I totally agree. So I really realized, guys, I believe all of our pain comes from not accepting reality for as it is, AKA then you're going to either blame or say the word should. Things should be this way. That's depression and pain because it's not, right? And when you see a lot of people that tend to figure out happiness, they usually always talk about accepting reality for how it is on some level. That's like Byron Katie, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tom Bilyeu, like any of these people that you'll listen to, they all figured that out in their own way. They're saying the same concept is like accepting reality for how it is. What were you gonna say, Julian?
Me?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
I do have one more thing to add. Breath work is an instant.
We all three of us do the Wim Hof.
Immediately, I'm happy after. Like immediately.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. Like Wim Hof breathing, cold shower. It's just like a switch. Like you can't. I don't know how anybody could be upset after doing that. It's just like you're in tune. If I gave like an NF analogy, it feels like you're just like in tune with the natural flow of life and the universe. Like you're more connected with what's really happening in actuality with your body, with your breathing, with the life around you. And it's like what Josh was saying too. It's like our thoughts are not matching up with reality. And the problem is like maybe being even in an intuitive side of things, this might not have any actual, it might not be true, but it's like I'm always stuck in my head. I'm always having these imaginations. And then if I'm having too much of that and they don't align with what's happening in reality, and that happens for a long period of time, that's when I fall into my negative states. That's when I fall into depression. It's kind of like I have this grandiose plan and it's kind of vague, and I'm trying to move towards that plan. And then after like a couple months, it's not working out as I imagined it. And then I'm like, oh man, my imagination is not matching up with reality. Like I'm sad now. And the truth is just like, well, spend more time in reality, maybe. Like, forget about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think two things. So I think one is having the skill set of being able to jump into your meditation. So think of it, for those who meditate, you can get a place of peace where you don't need anything in the world. You're at complete peace and contentment, right? You don't need a spouse, you don't need a house, you can live in a box, and you can find this peace because you start to realize all this peace is just in here. Nothing outside of me is creating peace. It's all in here, right? And that place of amazing joy. I think it's that, and having the skill set, figuring out how to develop the skill set of how to jump in that, and then going out in the world, taking action, trying to hit goals. When your goals don't align and when you're having a hard time shaking, it's, you know, and you're getting depression, being able to come back here. And I think it's like being able to go through that switch. And the second thing that I think is really important is keeping a growth mindset at all times, because when things aren't aligning, then you're still resisting reality on some level, and then you're depressed. But you're focused. You get what you focus on. You're focused on what you think you can't change, which isn't true. So now you just need to sit down and think, what options do I have? Now, if someone dies and you want to bring it back to life, that's
probably not going to happen.
What options do I have? What's AI doing right now? Like, Elon Musk. How do I bring someone back to life?
Tell me how. Let's Google.
So, but I think that like then you always have. I think what it's like the counter, like a coin, is like depression is hopelessness, and then the flip is like hopefulness. And to find out like what options do I have to like create some new future? What's the opportunity that comes from this door closing, right? Or like being stuck here. So in other words, I know this is very abstract, guys. I'm sorry. Let me try to make it clear. You got two options, I think, when that happens. Okay, you got it. Yeah. All right. So when that happens, though, guys, and you get stuck and you're depressed because the world's not aligning up with what you want it to be, I think your two options is either keep persevering. There's always another way. If you really ask someone, have you tried everything? And then you just keep going and going. They're always gonna. They can count how many things they tried. They haven't tried everything. If you tried everything, you'd already be there. Okay, that's one half. And then the second half is if you do want to change gears, then you got to say, what opportunity came out of this door closing? There's always an abundance of opportunity around you. You're just not seeing it because you're so focused on the thing that didn't work. You need to focus on all the opportunities around you because they are there. I promise you.
I think a lot of things with depression, though, because I've been that person before where it's like, I've been so depressed for such a long time. That's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it becomes a comfortable place because at least it's familiar.
It's almost more uncomfortable to get out of a depression because I haven't been there very long. Yeah.
So Tony Robbins says, he says like everybody has their like natural emotional territory that they'll always try to go back towards, and they'll try to like observe reality in such a way that it brings them back there. And it's like the practice of trying to find like a new territory, I guess. I never really heard him riff on that. Well, what is his solution? I don't even know. Did he have a solution to that?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't think so. I think he just
he just was like throwing it out there. He's like,
you're stuck in depression.
For me, I just had enough times. It was like, I like this feeling more.
Yeah, right.
You know. And then I saw people that weren't depressed, and I was like, that life looks a lot happier than the one I'm living.
Yeah, but I guess it's also having the realization and the self-realization to know that what you're experiencing is like this attachment to depression in a sense. Where does somebody recognize that they are in depression is the one thing, and then the second thing is, do they recognize that they're constantly going back into depression, and they want to move somewhere else, right? Like,
I think to realize, like, and this one was like a but to realize that like you're choosing to be in depression.
I know you say that. Yes, it's still a freaking choice. God, does that like resonate with me so much? Every time I'm in it, and it feels so real, and you feel like, no, it's not. But then at the end of the day, that happened. I was in a depression a few days ago, guys. And then I told her, she was like, oh, you're in a better mood today. And I was like, nothing changed. I just got sick of being there and realized it was never going to change unless I changed. You know, so if you want things to change, you got to change. And so I literally just made a choice, and I was like, I'm sick of this depression. I'm going to freaking enjoy life because I can get hit by a bus tomorrow.
And that life that's not like happening, because I was always that person that was like, this is happening to me. And I'm like, yes, things are happening to you, but it's your choice on how you respond.
or they're happening for you,
right?
And it just in the moment you're only looking at the problem,
right.
But you're not looking at how this is helping you, why it's for you. You can always find why everything's happening for you, not to you.
Well, I think we talked about this on a different podcast, maybe. But like every painful thing that's happened has led to something great. It's been your best learning experience. It's been what's made you change and grow. And
like you're welcome.
Yeah, we talked about that in our first live stream. I was just thinking right now about how much like fears and depression have to do with like fixed mindset, to do with demons. I can only speak from my own experience, but like, say for example, I have a blog right now and I'm working on the blog and I'm very comfortable with like the repetition of just producing content and keeping it going day after day. And then like having the concepts, bringing out the concepts and like exploring the concept and doing the double observer thing. But what I'm really uncomfortable with doing is switching gears, finding like new ways of packaging it. And then the thing that I'm most uncomfortable about is actually like expanding the audience and like trying to like, this is where my mind says you're fixed. Yeah, my demon is like, you're a fixed mentality. Like you can't do, like my mind is like almost like there's a blind spot and a blockage, and which is sort of like when I think about like I need to expand my audience. How do I expand my audience? And it's just like
See, I don't know if it's helpful because we're extroverts, but like the way my brain thinks is I always think everything's possible. And then it's like, okay, but I think because I'm an extrovert, I'm like, let me just get someone else to do that then if I can't do it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, who's the right person to team up with so we can still keep the momentum moving forward to get to that place?
Totally.
Do you see what I'm saying?
This is so interesting. Like, I just wanted to say this because I was looking at Tim Ferriss a little bit ago. And he has this one question that he always asks himself when he's hit with a really difficult situation. And it's, what would this look like if it was easy, right? And so he takes whatever the problem is. Yeah, and so like he considers how to make it easy. But it's funny how my mind works compared to his mind when he considers that question. Because he was, his problem at one point, this was what led to Tools of Titans. Tribe of Mentors.
Yes.
He wrote the book Tribe of Mentors. And he was having all these questions roll around in his head, and he's just like, I don't know the answers to these questions. Like, and then he asked the question to conquer those questions, which was, what would this look like if it was easy? What would it look like if answering these questions was easy? And his mind jumped to, well, if I had a tribe of mentors that I could reach out to, then it'd be easy, right? Like my mind doesn't work like that. Like I wouldn't think like, oh, if I had a tribe of people to talk to, like this would be easy. Like I just gotta find the right person to help me solve this. Like, but that is a solution, you know?
Tell me this, Julian, I'm curious. When you do think like that, are you emotional? Because I think that when we get emotion, then we can't think as well. And then we get, our prefrontal cortex shuts down, our amygdala heightens, all the blood goes there, and we need to get the blood back here. So I wonder if like breathing from your diaphragm to get the flight or flight response away would lead you there. So I'm curious though, let's start there. Do you notice that your emotions are spiked at that time, whether it's frustration or anything?
No, sometimes. Like a lot of the time, it will be kind of because I'm not actually actively pursuing it in a moment, and it'll come into my mind, and then that'll be like in a more emotional spot. But if I'm tackling it from a non-emotional place where I'm just like, because I also believe like, there must be a solution. If someone else was able to do this, then I'm able to do it too. Like all the tools are still out there.
Right.
And so like I take that perspective.
They're smarter than me, and then I get mad.
Even if they are smarter than me, like whatever, like they just
figure it out.
It's possible. It's possible, you know. Especially if it's something that so many people have done. I'm like, well, like so many people are doing this. Like the statistics are on my side.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but the thing is, when I pursue that, it's not that I can't do it or that like it's something that I can't get through. It's more just like very slow going. It's like putting my mind into a gear that it's not used to going in. And just like I'm making progress. I'm doing these things that other people are doing. Like I'm working this, but it just feels kind of like moving slowly in the dark. But there's still progress there, and there's still space. And I think that that's more important than having this false idea that your way is the correct way, and just like going around in this insane circle. If you're like, no, I'm just not going to look at my demons. I'm not going to go into that area because I'm just not responsible for it. So I'm just going to keep working my saviors and hopefully something works out here.
Yeah.
Well, I think the good news is like Dave and Shan, I think they said you only get stuck. Anytime you're stuck, it's because you're not using your demons.
Yeah.
And so then you have two go-to points every time. Is like,
Yeah.
okay, for
What am I not
me,
using?
am I not using my FI or am I not using my SE? Okay, like,
And for us, most of the time, Josh and I at least, it's FI.
yeah, it's our FI.
Yeah.
We're getting stuck.
Neglecting that FI.
Yeah.
It'll be T for me pretty much 100% of the time. It'll be like I'm not. Like the thing is, like, it's such a blind spot for me. Like, I hardly even recognize what TE is. Like, I might try to wrap it into SC. Like, maybe I just need to consume more information from what other people are doing. But I think what it really is like that play energy of finding someone, pinging off of them, getting their ideas, and then doing that with a bunch of other people as well, and being like, can you do some work with me? Like, can we do some work together here to make this, to expand this? But it's still something that I don't really fully understand because, you know, I think that this is a long journey we're on. I don't expect results right away, and I'm not worried about that. I think that's kind of the mentality to go for in this sense when you're working on something that's like your deep unconscious blind spots, is like, this will take a while. And so I can just chip away at it for a long time, and I don't have to worry about trying to solve it overnight or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why it's important to stay emotionally calm, is because when you're calm, you got to be able to ping back and forth between the two.
Which is so hard.
So it's like for everything, right? So it feels like you got to be able to push yourself, but then also know when to let out the gas and give yourself a little time to relax and think, right?
Yeah.
And then push yourself. Like for everything, it seems like that. It's like you're pushing between two, and then you're bound. Okay.
Laura agreed, girl.
She said, eventually even your saviors bite you in the back. Oh my God. Yeah. Even more so at times, right?
Yeah.
And your demons are more rewarding to use. Like, it's rewarding to use your demons.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. If I'm having a conversation that's like NF, FI, NI, like
so fun, right?
area, then like I just feel so enlivened. I'm like, yes.
I'm proud of yourself. I'm thebomb.com.
Here's what I noticed. Here's what I think I noticed is, like, I noticed that like saviors seem to be totally okay to keep using a lot if you're using your demons as long as you have the relationship with your demons where not only do you respect them, but you keep covering the bases of them. So it's like, to me, I'm not allowed to use my saviors unless I keep using my demons a lot. Does that make sense? And then I find that I don't get stuck that much when I have that approach. Like, I can keep using my saviors. I think, okay, this is where I'm at right now with observing this. But because I noticed it in like Gary Vee and stuff, it's not like he's not doing FE all day. Like, that's all he's doing. Or Tom Bilyeu, it's not that he's not doing TI all day, right? They're using all their saviors all the time, but they're also using their demons all the time. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like you can use them all. You just got to use them all.
Yeah.
Right. You just can't only use one.
Just got to catch them all. Pokemon.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, man, like I completely agree that you can use your saviors as much as possible, but it's really like when you hit that wall, that blockage, like when they're not serving you anymore, when they bite you in the back, then like you have something to go to. Like, it's like you have to go into your demons. Like, it's just at least a little bit, because you're leaving voids otherwise. Like for me, it's kind of obvious because I'm leaving voids. I'm leaving voids in the outside world with other people of my tribe members. It's just like, okay, this is a very extroverted void I'm leaving, so it kind of bites me in the ass pretty obviously. And so it's like, well, I really have to work on those. Other people, maybe not. They could probably cruise on their saviors their whole life and maybe, you know, not have such a bad deal, right? It just really depends on what you have.
I think extroverts can typically go, I'm guessing they can like skip further until they burn and crash, but then it's probably going to be a really big burn and crash because they don't have any inner world to like back them up, you know. But I think that it's just a theory though. But yeah, so anyways, but that makes sense for depression. So I think that like if we get to a point where we don't want to use our demons and we think we're stuck forever now, and now you're depressed. So I think that makes sense to me. Because for me, it's I'm not processing and I don't want to process, then I'm depressed. I notice my depression comes through that. And Alex has to pee really quick. But Jillian, for you, like, so when you're depressed, what demons are you not using?
When I'm depressed, usually it has to do with just like my lower animals in a sense, in the way that I'm probably not communicating with somebody well enough. I'm probably not communicating my fears. I'm not communicating together. I'm not working with someone in that sense when it comes to my fears. or like or it's like I've convinced myself of a narrative that's just not true. And so that also has to do with maybe overworking my saviors, in the sense of it's like FINI sleep, and I've convinced myself of a certain narrative, or I've blinded myself to outside perspectives or to outside worldviews. And like, you know me, it's like I'm not in this all the time. Like, this is not like I'm not always doing that kind of thing. But when I do feel that way, then it usually has to do with just like getting stuck in one gear for too long, and I'm like, oh, okay, like what? I need to.
What do you feel like you can't change about reality? What realities do you feel like you can't change when you're in those depressions?
I guess like it has to do with this thing is of like I can't get what I want, and the other person can't get what they want at the same time, sort of situation, because it is like a single decider. Usually they are like single decider fears, in the sense of like, if I have any fears in my relationship or whatever, then it usually has to do with like, I don't think that I'll be able to get what I want and she'll be able to get what she wants in the situation at the same time. And so one of us has to make a sacrifice. And so fear and negativity comes out from that, you know?
So is that a double decider? Because as a double decider, I don't know if it's because I'm a double decider, but I always know for a fact I can find out how to get them what they want, give me what I want as a happy medium. There's always one. Mm-hmm. Is that a thinker thing, TE thing, or is that a double decider thing?
I think that's double deciding thing.
Okay.
To me, that sounds more like a double deciding thing in a sense, and more of an extroverted thing probably, because like I don't know. I have a lot of vulnerability when it comes to communication and like sharing my vulnerabilities and working with someone else. Like teamwork is something that I've struggled with a lot in my life, because I just like, and I think it has something to do with being a single decider as well, in the sense like what I spoke of earlier, where I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine a way, if I have something in my mind that's like, this is what I want, and I'm somewhat aware of what they want as like an abstract guess, but I'm not willing to communicate to find out what they really want. And so I'm stuck in that gear of like, this is probably what they want, and this is what I want. And I don't see the connection here of where they can fully meet up in that sense. Mm. And then that's where I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot what your question was, but
yeah, just because I always feel, but as a double decider, I feel the natural confidence. I can always find what a happy medium between me and the tribe. And just was it? Do you think that's TE, or did you think that was double deciding? But
yeah, I do think that's double sided and extroversion. Like, the fact that I'm afraid to communicate and extrovert with the tribe, combined with the fact that I think I take it way too seriously, that there's what I want and there's what the tribe wants, and to go back and forth between those there's too much of a gulf in my mind. It's not the truth, but it's like it appears in my mind, and I never actually get to explore it because of the unwillingness to communicate, which I think is probably one of my biggest flaws in relationships and with just teams in general, is this unwillingness and the taking it too seriously to communicate my desires compared to other people's desires. And like, it's something that I still struggle with, because like I'm still like really very immature. As mature as I am in some areas of my life, I'm still very immature in a lot of other areas of my life. And like, this is something that you keep trying to work on, I guess.
Just keep doing it over, like communicate with the tribe, and annoy to the 10 people in your life right now for the first, like for the next 2 months. Then for the rest of your life, hopefully you don't have to annoy anybody else, because you got it. Like, just I look at it now, like I'm just gonna I did that with trying to figure out how to be nice, because I'm too nice with the tribe at times, where it's like tribe over self. And so how I got good at that was I decided to piss everybody off for 2 months and just say no to everyone with everything they asked, pretty much, unless it was an easy, obvious one. But if it was something in the middle, I'm choosing myself every time. My family, they all said I was super selfish, everything. I got comfortable with the stings. I wanted to get comfortable with the stings, because that sting I was so afraid of, and it hurt. And so I just ran toward the stings, got a bunch of stings, finally started loosened up. And then I came back and started finding my balance again after that. Babe, so for you, do you notice like what demons you're not using whenever you get depressed? Is there like a common like pattern where you're not using your FI?
Yeah.
So
I'm neglecting my values and stuff to please everybody else, incorporate theirs in most of the time, or I'm not even sure of how I feel. Or like that's like the thing is it's like I just feel sad. I'm not sure why, but I'm just really sad. And it's like this big like monster to try to like go inside and process and figure out why I'm super sad.
Yeah, so I think that she feels like she'll know what her emotion is, but she won't know why. And I won't know what my emotion is, but once I find out, I do know why. Usually.
Yeah. Like he'll know why immediately once he figures out what it is.
And I feel like, I don't know. It's weird. Like maybe from my perspective, it's that I do know the feelings and the why, but I feel like I can't actually solve it with the tribe in a sense. Like I feel a blockage in the way of actually get like accomplishing what needs to be done. And this is kind of this is very abstract. It's very confusing because like
I know what you're saying. So maybe what you could get in the habit of doing is just every time you're there, ask a tribe member, hey, I need you to help me brainstorm. How can I make a happy medium right now? Like, help me, like, just have them do it with you so that you can get the repetition there. And then you don't feel like you're just saying, like, I want this, but I don't know how to ask you what you want. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know if that's helpful, but at least if you need one go-to move like that, you got to figure out one go-to move like that, which I can probably help you because we're both TE.
Yeah.
But you need one go-to move where you ask them and be like, yo, I'm stuck here. What is it you want again? I want to find out how we can get a happy medium here. You know what I'm saying? And we can both win. Let's think together. Mm-hmm. Something like that, But you need a go-to thing that you can do to keep going there, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
Yeah, like a standard sort of go-to to use in the second. Because, like, to me, I'm usually just caught off guard in certain situations where it would be a very good moment in that moment to be like, oh, okay, like, oh, wait, a second, like, I'm not, like, let's find a happy medium right here because I'm not feeling this right now so much. Yeah. But usually it just passes me by. Like, I'm just like shell-shocked. I'm just like, oh, how do I react to this situation? Like, and I just go with it because I appreciate harmony a lot in relationships, and I'm an introvert, so like I'm not usually the one to reveal or express myself too much. So I'll just be like, oh, all right, cool, let's go for it, and then like secretly like resent it or dwell on it for a bit, and just be like,
yeah,
and then like make it so much bigger than it is to be like I need to solve this somehow. Like I need to come, and then when I do come out, I'm like, it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody.
You just don't want to do it in a demon state. Yeah. That's what I told her. I noticed every time she talks about her values, it's already too late. She waits until her demon state is flaring, and then she's like, don't step on my values. And I'm like, if you would just say it calmly here and there, it'd be really easy where you don't have to do it in this massive, intense state. So I think that is kind of the same thing as you guys aren't doing it fast enough. Try to do it in a nice state,
Well, that's why I like the idea of having like some kind of fallback, kind of like a trick or whatever, like a card up your sleeves, like something that you can just use in that moment. You can like, I've already decided this is what I use in these moments, and then just use it like a card you can use.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so figuring it out how it can adapt to various encounters is, I think, the trick. But yeah.
Okay, guys, so I think we need to wrap up here because we actually have a call. We've just realized 4 minutes ago. Yeah. But this is super fun, dude.
I got to wrap up too.
Good. Yeah. Safety first. Oh
my gosh.
Not that way, but no, just kidding.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for hopping on. For all you that we see, there's quite a bit of you guys watching now, and we really appreciate that, guys. We are doing these usually Saturday night lives. But this week, we needed to do a Friday night.
Well, ironically, we haven't actually had a usual because we've only done like 3 of them, and they have like been all over the place. We decided we were gonna have them on Saturday night. That was the plan.
Yeah.
But then like that happened once, and then I don't think it even like happened again. So
you guys should assume Saturday nights. Or no, let's actually assume Friday nights. Probably Fridays is actually much easier for us.
Fridays are good for me, man.
So let's keep it up Friday night lives for now, guys. We'll do them around the same time, probably around 8 o'clock Mountain Standard, or 8 or 9 Mountain Standard Time, somewhere in there. Maybe we'll say a tentative time, guys, for you to check back is Fridays at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Okay.
It only changed 3 times.
Yeah, but we'll post and keep you guys posted. But keep your notification bell on, and then you'll see every time we go on. Either way. So, all right, guys. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and Laura.
Thanks for jumping on and having great insights yourself.
Yes, you're so welcome,
That's
Laura.
sweet, Laura. Thank you.
So glad.
going.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you guys soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Peace out,
see
everybody.
you guys. See ya.